We never talk about the strike, ever. Never. I never have talked about it.
It was just a bad situation.
I was a little reluctant to do this too, after I thought about it, because, like I said to begin with, it opens up old wounds, and besides, my memory is not too good. My perspective is from the company point of view. I worked probably 3 months up until 1951. That's when I went in the personnel department in 1951, and I was then part of middle management. Prior to that, I had worked in the plant. It was a job that I had to do. Nobody would protect my job. I mean, the union isn't going to protect my job, and management said, "You come to work." And so we did. We of course kind of anticipated that there was going to be trouble, but we never realized that it would get so violent as it did. And as long as there were local pickets, things were right as far as middle management was concerned. They didn't harass us, and we didn't harass them. As a matter of fact, I walked through the picket line every morning for a long time, and would greet those strikers, and they were, like I said, they were friends of mine, and I would talk to them amicably and so on and so forth. After the strike got in a position, the company took the position that they had to keep the plant running. Therefore, you go out and hire temporary workers, and that's when the situation got bad. And then they would attack those temporary workers, or scabs, whatever you want to call them, and they would harass them terribly. They would follow them out. Most of them, or a lot of them, of course, were farmers from the area. So that's when the situation got very, very bad, is when they would attack the temporary workers. And that's I witnessed some things there that were not very nice, very bad. As a matter of fact, there was a time after that happened that we had to stay in the plant. There was about, I can't remember how long a time it was. It was a month or 6 weeks or so that we actually lived in the plant. We had cots that we slept on, and middle management people went out and worked alongside of the temporary workers. So I learned how to bone hams and all that kind of stuff too. So my little girl was 3 or 4 years old at the time, and that was pretty hard. Yeah, they were a little older than that. See, my daughter was born in 55, and this was in 60, so she was about 4 or 5 years old. So, Daddy, when you coming home? Daddy, I need a new pair of shoes. Now, on the day of the real riot, I walked through the picket line, and I noticed that some of the pickets weren't local, but the local one said, "Leave him alone." We walked out with the company nurse, and she went home, and I went home, and then my father, who was home, called me and said, "Hey, I'm glad you're home. They're having a real riot out there today." And so actually, I was not present for that particular episode, and that's the one that called out the National Guard. I remember, after that, all of the packing house workers in the area from Austin, Mason City, South St. Paul, Sioux Falls, wherever. They were enmassed along that bridge that crosses the railroad tracks that looks down on on the plant. We've been forced to live there. Look, here's 3,000 people staring down at this little group of people in the yard out there, and I was a little nervous. Of course, they didn't come down. They didn't do anything, but I was pretty scared for a while. If they started coming through there, I don't know where I'd go because they had it surrounded. It was a horrible thing. Some of the times I saw them, smash windshields. There used to be a concrete works right in that area, and they would pick up blocks, cement blocks, and throw them at the automobiles or smash down their windshields, and they would really make it tough for those temporary workers. And of course, we felt really bad about that because we brought them into the plant and we had no way of protecting them, but it was the company policy that you operate the plant. You go get temporary workers. You go to work in the plant yourselves. And we all did. It leaves a bad impression of the whole city of Albert Lea that you get the position that they're a strong union town, and so industry is sometimes a little reluctant to come here because of that. I still see these people out on the street today, and we talk very amicably and kid each other, and we're friends now. But there was some awful conflict within families that was so bad. I think there are times when the company takes advantage of workers, and that's the way they operate. They're always they have to make money, and I think a lot of times the strikes could have been avoided if they would have taken that kind of an approach, that what's going to be fair for the people that work for you, But they're bad for this city. But I have friends in any of the trades, any of the whatever. So, and I hope they feel that way towards me, because I certainly had no animosity towards them. I mean,
I started working at Wilson's in August of '58, and I worked in the stockyard for 36 years, and then the last 7 I had to go up to cooked ham. That's when they quit slaughtering. So I guess it comes to like 43 years altogether. I was only 19 at the time of the strike, and I was still living at home. I think the company offered us enough of a raise. It's just that they were, I think the arguments was over fringe benefits. Being 19, I wasn't, so much concerned about all that, But I pulled picket duty. They had different gates set up around the plant where you pulled picket duty, all times of the night and day. Well, my dad was working there too. He worked 40 years on a hog kill, so he was on strike too. It wasn't a fun time, I know that. And you were wondering if you were ever going to have a job. See, that's usually the risk you take when you go on strike. And sometimes the vote, you do what the vote dictates when it comes to going on strike. I was in that crowd, but that was about the extent of it, though. I didn't get too wild.
Yeah. Did you know some of the people who did?
Oh yeah. One morning, well, it was during the night, and then in the morning it was just getting dawn, and we were in a picket shack behind Queen Stoves. And when I went out of the picket shack, and I looked underneath the first viaduct, and then underneath the second one, which would be Bridge Street, there was a car nose down in the channel. I think a lot of it was exaggerated, mostly around the plant. I don't know. Outside the plant, I don't know much about that. But the National Guard was called in. They were still on strike on February 19th when I went I joined the National Guard and went into for active duty for 6 months. So when I got out, I went right back to work. But I was back in August already, so just about everybody was back to work by then. I don't know what how the community really took it. I know the community back then a lot of times there was quite a few. There was like 1,200 people or more working there, and I think a lot of other people's jobs were connected to the employment at Wilson's. Well, it does seem like it seems like Wilson and the plant right now, it seems like it never was here. Because you don't even hear anybody talk about it anymore. And the building isn't there, so I always wanted that building to be there so I could drive across the viaduct and look down and say, boy, I'm glad I'm retired. I'm 70.
70.
And in the day of the fire, when the plant closed, I was the last one that worked there before the strike. Everybody else is gone, retired. Mm-hmm. So I was the last one. You're just used to seeing that big thing down there, but there's nothing there anymore. I wish they'd get something down there. And it's kind of an empty place right in the middle of town. Don't look very nice.